Let's dive into the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending roller coaster ride through our top trending WWE news picks that are guaranteed to blow your mind. Starting off with major mistakes WWE has already made in 2024, the real reasons why The Rock is facing Roman Reigns at WWE WrestleMania 40, and why Bron Breakker should sign with Nick Aldis WWE SmackDown. Let's dive right into it. Why Bron Breakker should sign with Nick Aldis WWE SmackDown. In 2023, Triple H and WWE officials reintroduced the concept of general managers. The idea had been scrapped around 5 years prior during the Vince McMahon regime, but has since been resurrected to great success. Raw is represented by Adam Pearce, NXT is represented by Ava, and Nick Aldis runs Friday Night SmackDown. Adam and Nick, in particular, are often seen bickering or annoying with each other as they fight to try to make their brand the absolute best. Part of their attempts to outdo the other comes with signing top-level talent. The likes of Ivy Nile, the Creed brothers, Randy Orton, CM Punk Downey, and Tiffany Stratton have recently been signed away. Meanwhile, the two are now battling it out over former NXT champion Bron Breakker. The big bad booty nephew was seemingly close to signing with SmackDown until Pearce interrupted their meeting on the latest episode. While Bron is going to hear Adam out in regards to his offer to join Raw, he should absolutely go to the blue brand instead. In this piece, we will look at a handful of reasons why the former champion should stick with Nick as opposed to going with Pearce's Raw. Here are 4 reasons why Bron Breakker should sign with Nick Aldis WWE SmackDown. Number 4. SmackDown is the biggest show WWE has. WWE has 3 weekly television shows. Each brand is represented by one of these big primetime programs. There is Monday Night Raw, Tuesday's NXT, and of course, Friday Night SmackDown. While Raw is the oldest of the shows and NXT is arguably the most exciting, SmackDown is WWE's most popular program. It often has 4 or 5 times the viewers of NXT, and at times has at least 1.5 times more American viewership than Raw has. While Raw is a fantastic brand to move to, SmackDown is the show because of the fans. Every star wants to be seen by the most people possible. Bron signing with Nick Aldis and joining the brand gives him the best chance of becoming a top star. Number 3. Paul Heyman is on the blue brand. The Bloodline is a top faction in WWE, but much of that success comes thanks to Paul Heyman. Heyman has managed numerous top stars in the company, ranging from Brock Lesnar to CM Punk to Roman Reigns. People who work under Heyman are called Paul Heyman guides. Many believe Braun is the next man to be given that spot. Paul managed Braun on a special episode of WWE NXT last year, and fans immediately saw chemistry and dollar signs. Braun would be wise to choose SmackDown, so he remains closely linked to Heyman. It isn't clear if Roman Reigns and the Bloodline would let him in, but if he could take over the group, whenever the Tribal Chief isn't around, Breakker would be a major player immediately. Number 2, he could mostly avoid the Judgment Day on SmackDown. While the Bloodline is definitely a top faction in WWE, it could be argued that the Judgment Day overtook the SmackDown stable as the most dominant group of the company. The group is comprised of G.D. McDonough, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Bron Breakker quickly became familiar with the faction as he fought some of the members in the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match. Bron eliminated Finn Balor from the bout, but was surprisingly tossed out afterward by Dominic Mysterio. In a WWE exclusive interview, Bron sounded like he wasn't done with the group. While that's admirable, it is wiser to stay on SmackDown to avoid them. When all 5 members are united, nobody can stop them. Even somebody as intense as Bron would be a sitting duck if he stood up to the entirety of the group. Number 1, Bron Breakker could help offset the absence of part-time champions. SmackDown is the top show in WWE, but it arguably has a champion problem. The brand has 3 exclusive titles, plus both sets of tag team titles, which periodically appear on the program. The issue is that the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, and the United States Champion, Logan Paul, are both part-timers. Even the unified Raw and SmackDown tag team champions, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, are on the blue brand that often. As a result, SmackDown needs heavy hitters to make up for the weeks when the top champions aren't available. Io Sky can't do all the heavy lifting on her own. Breakker could join the likes of Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles in helping to carry the show while the top title holders are inactive. Why The Rock is facing Roman Reigns at WWE WrestleMania 40. WWE SmackDown aired on the Fox network in front of over 10,000 fans in Alabama last night. The show was notable for many reasons, including the debut of Tiffany Stratton and the signing of Naomi, along with the shocking betrayal of Bayley by Damage Control. While there were certainly plenty of noteworthy moments on the show, nothing compares to how the event concluded. The company promised a face-off between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, and the two had an epic promo. Then Cody oddly said that he wasn't going to finish his story at WrestleMania. From there, The Rock showed up to the shock of everybody except Cody. The two exchanged pleasantries, and the American Nightmare just left with nothing else being said. The Rock and Roman Reigns then had a stare-down that ultimately concluded the program. Many fans are surprised by this going down. Cody Rhodes won the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match and was seemingly prepared to finish his story. Instead, The Rock is seemingly battling the Tribal Chief at WrestleMania. Why was this booking decision made? There are a handful of possible answers for the unexpected move. Here are 4 reasons why The Rock is facing Roman Reigns at WWE WrestleMania 40. Number 4. It is arguably the bigger match. There are many debates flooding social media regarding this move. Some WWE fans absolutely hate the decision, while others are either excited or are willing to let it play out. Meanwhile, some are defending the move by noting that The Rock versus Roman Reigns is a bigger match. Cody Rhodes is definitely a star in WWE. There is no denying that. With that being said, The Rock is one of the biggest movie stars in the world. He has become a household name. His presence is bigger than anything Cody could do, at least in theory. That could be the rationale behind the decision. However, an argument could be made against this. WrestleMania has already told most of the tickets available, and the company isn't looking to obtain pay-per-view buys. Still, they may believe the publicity of The Rock competing could be worth it. Number 3. The Rock is growing older and may not have another chance. The Rock is an icon in WWE. He first began his career in the company back in 1996. While he started as Rocky Maivia, he eventually evolved and transitioned himself into the man fans know as The Rock. The People's Champion is a multi-time WWE champion who was a top-tier star for years. Still, it is worth noting that he retired from in-ring action on a full-time basis over 2 decades ago. His last real match was over a decade ago. The big-time movie star has gone a long time without wrestling and is now 51 years of age. The window in which The Rock can do this match with Roman Reigns narrows further every year. Triple H and World Wrestling Entertainment may have booked the bout because they may see it as a now or never situation. Number 2. Cody Rhodes may not be staying with the company. There is no doubt that Cody Rhodes has proven himself to be a top star in WWE. Not only did he win the Royal Rumble match on 2 consecutive occasions, but he headlined WrestleMania last year. He even had an epic feud with Brock Lesnar, where he won 2 of the 3 matches in a trilogy. Cody Rhodes could and arguably should be the face of the company for years to come. However, there may be a slight hang-up. According to multiple reports from December, the American Nightmare is yet to sign a new contract with WWE. While it was noted that he was expected to sign a deal soon, no news on the contract being finalized has been reported. The Rock may be battling Roman Reigns because the American Nightmare didn't re-sign and may intend to leave the promotion once his contract expires. Number 1. WWE might want Roman Reigns to break more records as champion. August 30, 2020 was a big day for WWE. On that date, Roman Reigns won the Universal Championship. Less than 2 years later, he unified that belt with the WWE Championship. He has remained on top of the world ever since. With Roman having a title reign of over 1,250 days, only 3 men throughout the company's history have been champions for longer. Hulk Hogan had a WWF title reign of almost 1,500 days. Meanwhile, both Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino held the world title for over 2,000 days each. We all can assume that Roman will defeat The Rock when the two clash at WrestleMania, while a bout with Cody would have all but guaranteed a title change. The company may want Roman to beat Hulk Hogan's record or even attempt to beat the other two, which is why this match was booked instead. Major mistakes WWE has already made in 2024. The first month of 2024 has passed and the WWE Universe is buzzing with excitement and energy as we kick into second gear on the road to WrestleMania XL. 2 noteworthy events have already taken place in Raw, Day 1 and the 2024 Royal Rumble. The Rumble helped set the tone for the grandest stage of them all. Despite creating much hype and excitement, Triple H has also made quite a few avoidable mistakes, to say the least. On that note, let's look at 4 mistakes WWE has already made in 2024. Number 4. The Bloodline has looked incredibly weak thus far. The Judgment Day may rule Monday Night Raw, but SmackDown, and perhaps all of WWE, is under the vigilance of the Bloodline, led by Roman Reigns. 2023 was a tumultuous year for the Samoan faction, and their fortunes have not changed much recently. The Bloodline looks like a shell of the dominant, formidable force it was a couple of years ago. Their booking has been underwhelming. Jimmy Uso was the sacrificial lamb for the Tribal Chief's opponents, But Solo Sikoa also suffered the wrath of LA Knight, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. They hit the Enforcer with a triple powerbomb through the announcer's table. For a man who defeated John Cena clean last year, Sikoa's stock and momentum have taken a considerable hit. The Street Champ should be protected to maintain his aura. As for Roman Reigns, he has only wrestled one bout this year, where he successfully defended his undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the 2024 Royal Rumble. Although the head of the table won the match clean, he came out looking weak. Reigns was at the receiving end of extended beatdowns by all of his opponents and endured through the majority of pinfalls. Reigns also failed to deliver good on his promise to stack and pin Styles, Orton, and Knight. Number 3. WWE booked no women's title match at the 2024 Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is one of WWE's biggest events, and arguably, the most anticipated and beloved PLE in pro wrestling. It attracts considerable mainstream attention, and featuring on the show is a huge deal for all the wrestlers. However, the women were underrepresented on the show. While the women's Royal Rumble match was praised, the female champions had little to do with the PLE, which resulted in a massive letdown for the female wrestlers. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky were not in action at the Tropicana field. None of them were booked to wrestle on the show. WWE could have added an open challenge to bolster female representation on the card. Number 2. The 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match fell flat. The consensus surrounding the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match seems to be underwhelming, but much of the disappointment can be attributed to the sky-high expectations generated by the rumor mill. The first significant issue of the bout was the lack of quality surprise entrance. Andre's return was the only legitimate shocker, but he entered early and could not make much of an impact. Bron Breakker also entered in at 20 like a house of fire, but casual fans were not well acquainted with the star. Pat McAfee's spot was wasted as the enthusiastic commentator eliminated himself. Sami Zayn's entry at the final spot was arguably the most controversial move of the evening. Moreover, the Rumble match only got exciting towards the end of the bout when CM Punk and Cody Rhodes battled as the final two. The rest of the Rumble was filled with filler talent who had no real chance of winning. WWE also had the ripe opportunity to set up Jimmy versus Jey Uso as both brothers entered first. However, despite numerous exchanges and close calls, neither man could eliminate the other. It seemed as if Triple H struggled to book the men's Royal Rumble match as well as his predecessor. Number 1. The Rock vs. Roman Reigns' setup was controversial. After Cody Rhodes won the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match, he pointed his finger at Roman Reigns, seemingly confirming his opponent for WrestleMania XL. However, World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins seemingly made his case for facing the Rumble winner. It seemed as if WWE was setting up Rhodes versus Reigns eyed before the post-Rumble edition of SmackDown came around. The American Nightmare suggested he was not going to face the Tribal Chief and introduced The Rock instead. The problem is that Cody's Rumble victory seemed meaningless, and even if he defeats Rollins, his story is technically incomplete because the American Nightmare lost to the head of the table at WrestleMania 39. Moreover, The Rock vs. Reigns should have been set up at the Rumble, and the Stanford-based company should never have teased Reigns versus Rhodes. It looks as if the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble winner was forced out of the spotlight, and fans are criticizing this decision. Do you agree with the aforementioned mistakes made by WWE?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me